Hi, this is Ann with Finance on the Offense, and today I'm going to tell you about how tax brackets work, and I'm also going to go over a very common misconception that people have about tax brackets. And I want to mention that I'm just a random person on the internet, and this is just for entertainment purposes only. All right, let's get started. I'm sure you've run into people who talk about not wanting a raise or not wanting to work overtime because it'll put them into the next tax bracket. So here's what they think is going to happen. Their accountant has told them that they're in the 12% tax bracket right now, and they think that getting a raise or working overtime is going to bump them into the next tax bracket, which is 22%. And so they think they're going to lose money by doing that. So here's an example of what I mean. Here are the tax brackets for 2021. Let's say John makes $40,000 a year. He thinks he's paying 12% to taxes, so $4,800 in taxes every year. This actually isn't quite right, but I'll explain that later. John's boss offers him a raise to $43,000, but he thinks it'll push him into the next tax bracket, which is 22%. So he thinks he'll be paying $9,460 in taxes, which, if that were true, it would make him worse off than before he got the raise. So he tells his boss he doesn't want the raise. But here's the thing, that is not true. And I think this is one of the biggest misconceptions out there when it comes to money and tax brackets. It's also a little hard to understand or to explain to someone. It's very common for people to think that their entire income is going to get taxed at that higher tax bracket. Now, our tax system is progressive, so that means that tax brackets work like a ladder. Let's look at the chart again. For 2021, we're looking here at a single filer's tax rates. One thing that's missing from John's assumption is the standard deduction, but let's just assume that's already been taken out of the taxable income, just to keep things simple. So here's how it actually works. Before John accepts the raise, he makes $40,000. So we're looking at these first two sections of the tax bracket chart. The first $9,950 of John's income will be taxed at 10%, which is the lowest tax bracket, and that would equal $995. That leaves $30,050 that would be taxed at 12%, so that would be $3,606. When you add both of those together, you'll get $4,601, not the $4,800 that John thought he owed. John thought his whole income is taxed here at the 12%, but that is not the case. Part of it is taxed at 10%. So if he gets a raise or works overtime, he jumps up to the 22% tax bracket, and this is what he's worried about. But his entire income is not taxed at that 22% rate. The first $9,950 of John's income is taxed at 10%. As we said before, which is the lowest tax bracket. So that part would equal $995. The second part of John's income will be taxed at 12%. So this is everything between $9,951 and $40,525. So if I just subtract $9,951 from $40,525, we get $30,574. And that's the part that will be taxed at 12%. So we'll multiply $30,574 by 12%, which equals $3,668. And then the third part of John's income will be taxed at 22%. So this is everything over $40,525 all the way up to $43,000. So if we subtract $40,525 from $43,000, we get $2,475. And if we multiply that by 22%, we get $544.50. So John thought his entire income, the $43,000, would be taxed at 22%. That would have been $9,460. But what actually happens is each part is taxed separately at the lower tax brackets first. His actual tax bill will be $5,207.50. Not $9,460. So the amount John will have after taxes if he didn't take the raise is $35,399. And the amount John will have after taxes if he does take the raise is $37,792. So even though the raise or overtime does push him into a higher tax bracket, it's still in his best interest to take the raise or work the overtime. Now, there are a whole lot of other potential factors that can go into figuring your tax bracket, like if you have kids, how much you contribute to your 401k, a mortgage, other itemized deductions. But this is just an example that shows that taking a raise or working overtime is a good thing. It doesn't hurt you to do that. All right, I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you like it and you want to see more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, and you'll be notified every time a new video comes out. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.